Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Zombicide video. This is for Zombicide 2.0. It's Comic Book Extras Volume 2, Survivors, Missions, and Tiles. So this is they had a pre-order for it. I don't know if this is going to be, I don't know if it's going to be available retail, but it might be available through like one of their stores. Otherwise, you can pick it up secondhand. But I like going through this. Some people are going to just get it for the figures in the box. Some are also going to be trying to pick up the comic book. So before I get into anything, knowing people and someone that loves comic books, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to say spoilers ahead. If you want to read the comic book you're picking up for the comic book, there is stuff in the box that might potentially spoil some of the storyline or just some of the characters or what they're doing, things like that. So yeah, if you haven't read the comic book and you don't want the comic book at all spoiled for you, now granted, I haven't read through it all myself. I just did a quick glimpse through it, but also, I can figure out A plus B equals C type of thing. Yes, if you haven't read it and you don't want any potential spoilers for it, definitely go read it first, then come back and watch the unboxing. It is called Dead in the Water. It is number 2. Now, I don't know. I do not have Volume 1, so I don't know if it's a direct continuation. I think it's sort of, I don't know if it's direct continuation of the story, but I know it's part of the Zombicide overall storyline. If you follow all the missions, all the way through classic Zombicide, stuff into Zombicide 2.0, is they have things like, hey, we found this guy has their thing, they did this thing. Some of them are just kind of like whatever things. They're sort of like fantasy or like extra things to do, but some of them actually do kind of perpetuate the story. Just like showing on here, like we do have a couple characters, like Phil is from like the base game, and so is Amy. These are some of the characters are from, and Keiko and Diana. So some of these guys are all from the I think Doug. I think I may have said Josh. Doug. Josh is the other guy. He's the guy with the hoodie. But yeah, so some of the, no, I said Phil. Phil is the cop. Sorry. This is Doug, the officer. But yeah, some of the guys carry over from the story, so just kind of interesting there as well. Alright, so, and then just to kind of do, I'm just going to flip into there just a little bit so you can see some of the artwork. So heads up, is Zombicide, so it might be kind of gory. But we do have some of the new characters being presented. Definitely a little bit gory book, so just heads up on that. But I don't want to get into too much more, because again, I don't want to get into spoilers. Alright, so what do we have for the actual thing? The Comic Book Extras Volume 2, we are going to get 12 miniatures. So we have, 8 new survivors. 8 survivors, cool, 8 IDs. 1 abomination, 1 mission tile, which actually has 2 missions on it, which are kind of a part 1, part 2. But you can play them separately if you like. And 4 new double-sided tiles. And then we also have 4 zombies. Alright, so let's look at the tiles first, and then we'll go over the rest of the stuff. So our tiles are, this story is taking place on a cruise ship. So we're going to start with tile 1SR. Let me back my camera up just a bit here. So we're going to start with one side of the cruise deck here. I like versus some of the classic Zombicide, the 1.0s. I do like these where they start putting people on the board sometimes, and it just makes it more things. Yeah, we have some dark areas yet with special treasures, the red ones, some people in there. We have a covered up pool from the top of the deck of the boat. And then if we get into SR2, or 2SR, sorry, this is the cabin area up on the top of the ship. We have a little jacuzzi in there. Of course, there's a jacuzzi on the ship. And then some the different lounge, like a little exercise room, exercise bikes, a little lounging room. And then that's supposed to basically connect when you're doing the board. It connects like this. So that is one thing that 2nd edition started doing more than the classic, was they started making the tiles where tile 1 kind of needs to go next to tile 2 instead of making them so modular. And not to say some of the classics didn't do that, but I think the nice thing about the upside and downside of that is, one, it's kind of nice because it makes practically a full scenic area versus just like here's random things, because you can have stuff for like the boat goes this direction or it tiles off, because like this tiles at the end, so you might not have something that lines up initially correctly with that. But it does that thing of making it feel more like an actual environment versus it just being here's 9 random tiles with either a long building in the middle or 2 buildings on the side or an L shape, like some of the original base game tiles have. For 3 SR, we have the other side of the boat, so we have another little storage, like lounging type areas. Some more people getting eaten under umbrellas, and then the other part of the pool. So that can then connect like this and give you a full pool there. That is covered. Now, granted, what would have been really neat with that would have been like, almost have been like, had it like extra tiles you could put on top of there to show it's covered. And then 4SR is the other side of the big cabin part. So here we got like just some other extra rooms. There's some restrooms, some eating rooms. Again, some dark rooms in there as well. And then that would go side by side with that one to finish up that. And then if you connected all 4, you get the main deck of the ship. And again, now are there ways to make this modular? Of course, definitely. Like, because you could connect these two like this way instead and make that half of a cabin. But then we don't really have the other half. You can always connect them the other direction. You know, plenty of different things you could do there. Same thing with these. You could go them long ways if you wanted to. You just have that anchor piece looking kind of odd, but you can even swap them the other direction. Makes the edge of your boat look kind of funny, but the tiles do line up. You know, and then you could always, I mean, now could you line them up like this and have them this way? You sure could. Again, your rooms aren't going to always line up 100%. You know, like the edges of the boards are going to look a little wonky over here. But, you know, you get that little bit of aesthetic for the fact of getting, you know, a different play area. But again, the idea is just meant to be like tiles. Alright, so if we flip over 1, we have 1 SB. So we have basically special R and special V. So this is the lower deck. So here we're going to get kind of like the supply room. So we have like some like areas where like the navigators might be and stuff, some supplies. So we have like extra chairs near plates, maybe some meals. And then a big hallway, which they started doing in the mansion. The White House. And if we flip over 2, we have 2 SBs. So we have the other side of a hallway with 1 big room. So these are like the 2 big like master bedrooms for double people. Plus like their little interior rooms. So you're going to these areas. About the different hallways. And those can kind of definitely connect like that, or you could connect them like this. They have more ways to being connected. They're a little bit looser. And you could put them like this even, and then block off those 2 exits there. Very definitely different ways to do that. Then for 3, let's flip over 3, we have another part of the big underground cabin. So here's like the side of the ship. And we have like just like the medical area, the examining room. You're going to need something in there, so you have medical tables, all that fun stuff. This is more just a big room with a big hallway. And then the last part we have is 4, which flips over to a way to get inside the boat. So this is if you like want to play with other tiles, you can connect it to this, so they have a way to get into there. There's the hallway. And there's some smaller bedrooms there. And then, yeah, you can kind of connect all these. So you can kind of see where this is supposed to be. Should actually go like this direction if we're going to connect it. So you got like the port on that side, or the dock. And then you have your hallways here. I guess it just depends on which way you want to connect your hallways. You know, for the sake of all that. But yeah, then we can kind of get something that looks maybe something like that. You know, or you put this hallway on this one on this side, connects those rooms together, and then you can always do that and have like two big giant halls in there as well. So there's some various different ways to do that. So it's pretty fun. You get the upper and the lower part of the boat. Now, I personally wish I had thought about buying a second set of these, because I could have had... I like the idea of being able to have the top and the bottom at the same time, but it's not that big of a deal. Alright, never looked at the mission. I'm not going to spend too much time on these. Usually they post them online, so you can find them. The first one is just basically you're going to need tiles from... materials from 2nd edition and comic book extras. Now, can you replace 2nd edition with something else? Yeah, very possible. It just uses the maps from this, and it's just showing it's using either treasure chest or basically you need a base set. So if you had classic, you could definitely use classic, or if you had Prison Break or Rude Moor from the original, you could definitely use that. You just need all the different, like, spawn points and all that type of stuff. You just might not have one that's listed as one, or you might not have, you know, some exact specific thing, but you can probably figure out. But it uses the tiles from this game. There's kind of a neat idea here. The pool cleaner, right here. So they spawn on blue, so every time you spawn, an additional spawn goes on there, and then when it hits 5, it activates. It shows all the zombies are slowly kind of festering in the pool, then they pop out afterwards, which is like a fun little scary thing. Then for side 2, we have spoilers here. I'm again says spoilers for the story or other things. If you don't want to know any more spoilers for the game or the book, or you want spoilers on what's going to happen, yeah, it's your thing. So this again has one really kind of neat thing in here. So we have Walter, Harold, and Hemlock and Mavis cannot be used for this mission because they are our 4 zombies. So yes, we actually have something really neat, and we'll get to them when we look at them. Is we have some of our survivors have actual zombie versions, but they're not Zomvivors like the classic game where you can play as them as undead playable survivors. They're just zombie versions of them. But that's a really neat idea. Like, I almost wish they'd do that more. Maybe not for every stretch goal character, but it'd be cool for some of the base game characters to do that. It's just being like, hey, we're playing through a campaign. This guy died. Now they become a zombie, right? That's kind of a neat little idea. Alright, let's go ahead and look at our zombies and our survivors and all that. So we're going to just start off with our captain of our ship, which is Hemlock. And I'm going to zoom my camera back down. So here we have Hemlock, the ship's captain. He's a boring leader. This guy's miniature really quick. See if I can get this to focus with that card in the back. It might not. I might have to pull the card out. Sometimes it doesn't. So there he is. You know, I think will be great is because these guys are like kind of like, they're not exactly sailors, but they're captains on a ship, and this is a cruise ship. I think there'd be some fun characters. Is one of the VIP packs from the original Zombicide is the has sailors, and it'd be fun to put sailor zombies in here. So you have boring leader. I am going to reread off the thing what it does, because I don't always remember these exactly off the top of my head. During a survivor's turn, the survivor may give one free action another survivor can use as they please. The action is used immediately, and that's why I'm reading. It's one version of the game, like I think the fantasy version, Black Plague and stuff, the boring leader card thing gives them a token they can use on their turn. This one makes them use it immediately. Of course, yellow, we have one free action. In orange, +1 die roll for ranged actions. And then he has Home Defender. Which is survivor is not limited to range of 0-1 when tracing lines of sight through buildings. So basically it means if you ever shoot into a building, you're also can only shoot to the first space into the building. It's the idea it's supposed to be, you don't know what's in there. But being that this is he's the captain of the ship, he knows every inch of the ship inside and out. He can basically shoot into a building, and he knows right like where, oh, this shelf is gonna be down this low, it's a half counter, or he knows how to like aim around walls and doors and stuff. So actually makes him pretty cool, especially these little close range areas. In red, one free ranged action. Distributor and escalation range. Escalation range is gains 1 extra die roll for consecutive actions of a specific type. So every time he takes a ranged action in a row, he gains 1 extra die. So his first one, maybe he rolls 2 dice, and then his next time he'd roll 3 dice, then 4 dice until he takes something else, which works really well with +1 to die rolls, because then he gains an additional 1 every time. And Distributor lets him, resolving during the spawn step, draw as many zombie cards as are active spawn zones, look at the zombie cards and assign them to each spawn zone. So he gets to pick where guys are going to come from. So again, it kind of works with Home Defender, so he can sort of like plan and utilize the area to benefit him the best. Hey, I know there's not going to be a lot of zombies on this side of the ship because it's inclined. They can't get up that side or something, right? Or there was only like 2 people in that area of in the cabin, so I know there can't be many zombies over there if we do encounter them. So it's kind of a neat little thing. If we flip it over, it's just going to kind of mention those 2 again. So that's pretty cool. I think we're going to do then is we're going to look at his zombie version really quick. So here we have his zombie version. So yeah, he's all clothes are all disheveled, but he still has his gun. Now, I would classify these as being walkers, because of their poses. In this scenario, it actually says, oops, wrong side. Quick on the turn. Zombies, Walker, Herald, and Hemlock are considered runners, so they can only be eliminated with 2 damage. So yeah, in the story mode, they're actually considered runners, but I would normally just treat them as specialized walkers. That's pretty fun. We got those guys. Alright, up next, we have Walker. I'll look out of the way. There's Walker. He is our bartender, the ship's bartender. So he's, of course, carrying a bunch of Molotov cocktails with him. Let's get his miniature quick. So there's Walker. Definitely looks like I love that he has a gun and a Molotov in his hand, bag of Molotovs. Alright, so what does a Walker do? He has 2 cocktails are better than 1. Which lets him draw, when he uses a cocktail, I believe, each time you roll one, discard the Molotov to perform a ranged action, roll a die on 4 or more, maybe put in your backpack for free. It's just kind of cool, so he has a chance to keep using Molotovs over and over. He has search 2 cards, so when he searches, he just look for 2 cards, and he has a steady hand in orange. Can ignore other survivors with their choosing when missing ranged actions. This does not apply to game effects killing everything such as Molotovs. So yes, you can throw his Molotovs, but you can't not set someone on fire. But if he's firing into an area, it at least lets him not hit the other survivors if he misses. Just kind of a good backup, right? He's throwing Molotovs, but if he has to be shooting stuff in the meantime, he can try and take out other guys. In Reg 1, free combat action. Can search more than once. It's really cool. You can search multiple times. So as long as he spends an action for each search, plus he gets 2 cards every time, so that's very helpful. And then he has Taunt, which is always one of my favorite abilities. He can use an action to call any zombies towards him, and they ignore everybody else. That's definitely a fun ability. And if we flip this over, we'll see what some of these look like. And then we're going to look at his Zombicide version. So again, kind of like a walker. You see his bag. I like that they made his bag look like it's almost empty now, where before there's Molotov sticking out, and he has a broken bottle. Dropped his gun. So it's like, yeah, he threw most of his Molotovs, didn't help him out, ended up dying, broke his bottle. It's kind of funny. Alright. Our third survivor is going to be Harold, and we're going to do the 3 that have zombie versions first. So here's Harold. He is our cruise liner magician. yeah, so you have like a little bit of entertainment. So we have like a big magician on there hanging out. Hard to tell if that's what he is, but yep, there he is. His miniature, he's got his chainsaw, his little saw, because he's gonna saw someone in half. Got his top hat. I almost wish we'd gotten a zombie crawler that was like, or even like a full zombie with a zombie crawler would have been kind of neat. The way like in the box, like split in half, that would have been kind of funny. Like, oh no, we cut her in half, and then now you have to fight like her, like just the top half of her, or maybe like her laying there with her body cut in half. So he starts with Destiny, which I believe uses once per turn when they reveal an equipment card. They can ignore and discard the card, then draw another from the same deck. So it's not quite the same as drawing two, but at least gives you the option of, if you really don't like what you have, you can at least draw again. Then he gets lucky. Let's let him re-roll all his dice. Roll 6 plus 1 die for melee. In red, 1 free combat action, regeneration, and webbing. Webbing lets him treat all equipment in his hand as it, or his backpack as if it was in his hand. So it's always nice, because then again he's doing Destiny to pick and match what he really wants. So you can use webbing to like dual hand stuff, or always have a Molotov available, or whatever. And then regeneration just means that at the end of each round, he restores back to full health. I don't really know how that translates into a magician unless he has real magic. Maybe he's an illusion or sleight of hand, so the zombies thought he was there. Maybe that's kind of the thought process behind it. But yeah, it definitely gets him there. There's Destiny and Lucky. Alright, and here is our Zombicide version. So now he's all disheveled. He dropped his top hat. Still got his saw, though. Cool. Alright, so those are our 3 main survivors, our three walkers. So up next, we're going to look at a different, let's get another member of the ship. We have Julie. So Julie is the ship's, like, attendant. You know, I'm not really sure what they call them. Kind of helps her on. She's not the captain, but she definitely works on there. So here is her little miniature. So there she is in her. She's not a cruise director. She's just like one of the attendants on the ship. There she is. And she has point blank. So she's going to shoot people right in the face. Yeah, point blank lets you use ranged weapons at 0 space. Yeah. Perform range actions in their own zone matter in the minimum range, resolving an action at 0 range. Freely chooses targets to eliminate any type of zombie anywhere. So basically, and friendly fire is also ignored. So it more or less lets you treat a ranged weapon like a melee weapon. Then she has +1 free ranged action. She has Blitz. Can use the skill once per their turns. To spend 1 action to move up to 2 zones where zombies are within range of one of their equipped range weapons, and they gain 1 free range action. So that's even cooler too, because then she can rush in and get the extra free range action. Since she's at point blank, she can shoot right in their faces. +1 die roll for range, and Gunslinger. So she's going to be all about technically ranged combat, but she can get up close. Gunslinger treats all ranged weapons as if they had the dual symbol. She can double fire stuff. And there's point blank. Cool. So the last person we have for directly related to the cruises is we have a guest on the ship. We have Mavis. She's our old cruise person. She's on there all the time. Probably, you know, basically lives on cruises. It's a granny with a shotgun. You know, don't mess up Granny's trip. Big old double barrel. Hawaiian shirt, big duffel bags, fanny pack, handkerchief coming out of her pocket. I love it. So she gets free reload, which will let her reload her weapons for free. Survivors reloadable weapons such as my shotgun, sawed off for free. So, yeah, you don't have to spend extra action doing that. In orange, she has combat reflexes. Whenever a zombie spawns within 0 to 1 range and before any rush, survivor may immediately perform a free combat action against them. Actions may eliminate more zombies that have spawned. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. It's kind of funny. She like has a big giant gun, but she's also really quick to notice stuff. So there's a zombie, boom. Or trigger happy, as you can almost call it. Then she has a full auto. Resolving a range action, survivor may substitute dice for the number of the range weapon for the number of zombies standing in a targeted zone. So if she has a gun that would normally fire for 2 dice, but there are 5 zombies, she can roll 5 instead. She's going to load everything onto them. In red, 1 free range action, escalation, ranged, and a Reaper range. So we saw escalation before. Reaper means whenever she eliminates a zombie of any type, she may freely eliminate another zombie of the same type. So she takes out a walker, she gets a free walker. She takes out a brute, she gets a free, just to take out a second brute. And with full auto, that's definitely going to be very good. We're going to flip her over quick. She is also our last zombie. And if we focus up, so there she is. She's already getting all this up, disheveled. Her bag, but she dropped her gun at some point. Zombies don't typically use guns too much as actual guns. But she is not a walker. I mean, you could use her as a walker, I suppose, but she is an abomination. She is abominana. Can only be eliminated if the attacking survivor starts their turn out of line of sight and didn't make any noise before the attack. Otherwise, the attack does not inflict any damage, Molotov included. So again, this kind of plays with her whole thing of like combat reflexes and just being like gun happy. Is that yeah, you have to like pop out and snipe at her, like she's prepared to attack you. And I think like not being a big gargantuan abomination, this kind of makes her like very mean to go against. And then the fun thing is, again, you could just, because she's the same size as any other walker, you could treat her as any other walker if you wanted to. And just not use the abomination card. Definitely a possibility. Alright, up next we have Brian, who is our CIA agent. I only know that because he's like mentioned on the back of the book. He kind of sets up some of the story stuff. Definitely looks like he's taking off of kind of Liam Neeson, like a Taken type of look. But I don't think he's supposed to be directly. I think he's just a good homage. Not like one of the stretch goals where they're like supposed to look exactly like him, but yeah, I got a gun-toting CIA agent, undercover guy. Who starts with Tactician. Which Tactician says, Survivor turn can be resolved anytime during the player phase, before or after any other Survivor. Survivor benefits from this skill. Survivor shoots a player, so he can just jump in and go whenever he wants to player order. In orange, we have +1 die for range. He also has Home Defender. Now, you can understand the captain having that needs some why would the CIA, because the CIA, they plan and prep everything. So he knew every inch of that boat, 6 months before he entered it. It's kind of the thought process there, at least. In red, 1 free range action, Born Leader, and then he has Brothers in Arms, +1 ranged die for ranged attacks. So, Brothers in Arms, again, means as long as he's in the spaces as another survivor, they all gain the ability. So if he has a bunch of guys sticking together, he can kind of help them out, and then everyone gets 1 extra die for range. But if he's by himself, he loses that ability. So it does kind of make it a little double-edged sword there. But there's a lot of range guys on here. Imagine putting him with Mavis there. So there's 2 of his abilities there. Our next survivor is Brum. Now, at least mentally, how I want to look at this is this is a big giant cruise ship that's leaving. I want to imagine that this came... I don't know when the book puts this as being taken place, but I am going to imagine that this took place after the Rio de Janeiro sect. So this is maybe he got on board after after that set, like, right? So they stopped there, and then they were leaving there, and that's when he got on the boat, because he kind of feels aesthetic with that. You know, partly the darker skin, you know, because that kind of fits more of the summer tropical area vibes. Plus the fact he has 2 giant machetes, definitely feels more of that, like than like the jungles of Rio area versus being like in the middle of, like, you know, San Francisco or New York, you know, type of thing. But he starts with jump. We'll look at his miniature here quick. Like he's just pointing. I don't know what the symbol on his leg means. So if anybody knows that, over that big giant back thing with the 2 machetes, maybe I want to say maybe are these considered butterfly daggers? I think they're too big for that. But he starts with jump, which gives him some extra movement ability. I'm looking for the exact text on there. Okay, jump. Use a skill once per turn. Survivor spends 1 action, move 2 zones, and ignores everything in intervening zones except walls and closed doors. So yeah, it's kind of neat. So that way, if he can move 3, you can basically jump over a group of zombies to get away from them. Or if for some reason there's ever any other hazards, which there aren't very many. That'd be kind of nice if they had like spaces in the board that could be blocked off, or if they even had tiles you could add on the board. They could add like pits or broken roads or something. So then I have to go all the way around, and you have a guy they just jump over it. Kind of cool. In orange, 1 free melee action or 1 free move action. So this definitely gives him some options. In red, he has Lifesaver, Shove, and Slippery. Slippery is the easy one. It just lets him move out of zones with zombies without having to pay the penalty. So that means he can run and do melee attacks. He doesn't kill everything. He can get out without having to spend extra points. Lifesaver and Shove are kind of like opposites of each other. Shove will let you, for free, select 1 zone at 1 range from a survivor. And then both zones, you can share cover all zombies standing in a survivor zone or push that. So you can shove all the zombies out of his zone, and get them away from him. So if you use Slippery to escape, you can use Shove to push them away, or he can have Lifesaver, which lets him select a zone 1 space away from him and pull another survivor out of that zone for free. So it's either he can pull someone to him, he can run away, or he can shove the zombies away. So it kind of just gives you some different options to do kind of similar ideas. Shove, though, I think kind of has some of the most applications, because you could shove a group of zombies into another group of zombies, and then Molotov the entire area. You know, so that's always definitely a thing you could do there. Or you could shove someone close, even if a bigger guy, Abomination or something, you could shove them where someone else could attack them. So definitely a possibility there. Alright, then up lastly, we have Keiko. So Keiko here is the museum art director. So that's just, remember the description from the preview for the set. Now, I don't know why she's on, I think she's just traveling the ship to get somewhere else. Again, I think she's also part of the story. Second is Kimono, big old katana. Bunch of tattoos on her legs, which I definitely don't know how I would even go about starting to paint those. But she starts with Bloodlust Melee. Use skill once per their turn, spends 1 action, move up to 2 zones. Zones contain at least 2 zombies, and gain 1 free action. Launch to melee. In orange, she has +1 die for melee, and then hit and run. Hit and run means when you take out a zombie in a zone, you have a free move action. You can ignore any penalties. This is definitely great in 2 different ways. You can use that to defeat some of the zombies and get away from the group if you didn't defeat everything, or if you defeated the last one, you can use it as a move to go to the next area and maybe start attacking some more, or set up for your next turn. In Reg 1 free melee action, escalation melee, so she gets to roll dice versus the number of zombies instead of her equipment card for melee attacks. And then she has Sword Master, which lets her use any swords as if they were dual. All melee weapons if they had the dual symbol. She can definitely get double use out of all of them, which is really cool. I had a quick pause there. I had to check. I was thinking Keiko was already in the game, and this is like maybe an alternate version of her, but that was from the Game Night original series, classic, which is Kyoko, Kyoko. And they were both Asian women that had swords, so I thought, oh, maybe it's just an updated version of her from the base game, because they did repeat the base game characters. Thought maybe they're starting to maybe slowly possibly take some characters from classic, but nope, they didn't. I was just confused there. So as I said, those are some really neat characters. I mean, nothing like super out of the ordinary or crazy, but definitely an interesting thing. So I did want to also just point out one other thing before I end this, is we did have the water sets from Rio. I may have only had just 3 of them. Like they have a boat on them, and they did have the waters. Now, granted, you're not going to be able to go like straight up line these up, but you could always do something if you're using the outside of the ship, or even if you want to use the outside, the top part with the anchors. You know, and you could have it kind of be like, oh well, you know, that's, I can find this piece. You know, that doesn't directly line up, but you can always do something like that. Or even have it be like this part of the ship. You know, like I see they did dark blue water versus light blue water. We could always have the ship next to it. Maybe be like, hey, you come off the dock, have something says you could like get into that area or something. You could rearrange things. If you wanted to kind of maybe link some of them up. Just as a create your own game thing. But that is what we have for Comic Book Extras Volume 2 for Classic Zombicide. So definitely come back, check out the rest of the Zombicide stuff. You have questions, comments, concerns, I guess. Anything you want me to do or check out for this, you want me to go back, review some other old stuff or compare things, let me know. Also check out the other Comic Book Extras Volumes 2. Or I'm going to look at the other games that came in that pack as well. See you guys later. Bye.